Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Attic. Glad you could join me this evening. Tonight's topic is all about the future of genealogy. We're going to be talking about the changes that are coming up, that I feel that are coming up. We're going to talk about the research materials, the corporations, the nonprofits, and DNA. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything as far as that goes, as far as the future of genealogy and what direction I think it's leading up to, and how some of these changes might affect you in your research. But before we get started, I want to thank you all for joining me this evening. We made it back. Welcome to the attic, and the attic is a great big mess, but we are still renovating, doing some cleanup stages and redesigning and remodeling and reorganizing everything here at Piedmont Trails, but it's all good. It is all good. And we've got the family attic files of what remains will be coming out in a list on our website this week. That's coming out this week. Where you can find it will be on the Family Attics, the Family Attic Files page, which when you go to Piedmont Trails, you'll see that as one of the headings at the very top of the website. Just click on that this week, and the list will be there of all of the surnames that we were able to keep and to go back through and organize. Many thousands of surname files were gone, so don't be sad about that. We're moving forward, but I'm going to share the list with you this week. Also, we've got a podcast show coming out. Will be coming out the next weekend by Saturday. It will cover the Mecklenburg Declaration of what we were working on right when the hurricane hit, and we will be going public with our findings and our final opinion about the Mecklenburg Declaration of North Carolina. And that's coming up. We're excited about this. We're finishing up the touches for the show, and that'll be episode number 49, and it will be coming out by this coming Saturday. So that'll be our first podcast since the hurricane. So we're very, very excited for that. And we are going to be coming out with a new series for digging the roots. That'll be coming out this week also. We've got a lot of things going on. We're back on regular schedule. So a lot of this is all going to come out all throughout this week. We've got updates from the project. They'll be coming out for the 1st of March from the Great Wagon Road Project and Colonial Indentured Servants Project. We're back on track with that. And updates for those with ship information that we were able to obtain from the Great Britain archives that we originally lost during the storm. They are here with us now, and we'll be sharing that information with you in March. That's coming up in March. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Hi, just say hi to me. Let me know where you're from, and then we'll get started. I want to share a lot of updates of what I have found about genealogy in the future. I want to say hi to everybody, Melissa and Beverly and Nancy and Mama Need More from Arkansas. Welcome, Elaine and Christina and Scotty. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We've got also ground presentations that we have planned for this year. Some of them, some have been postponed. This was due to us organizing, getting our ducks in a row here at Piedmont Trails after the storm. So a lot of these events are coming up soon, and we will keep you guys apprised on which events are coming up, the dates, when they are located on the ground presentations, okay? Several are scheduled at historical societies local and other organizations. Robert's here. Good evening, Robert. Glad you could join us this evening. All right, tonight I want you to share your thoughts and opinions about genealogy as a whole and what you think the future is leaning towards for the common family historian. And that's what I am. I am a common family historian. I started out with humble beginnings a long, long time ago, and they are still humble to this day. I do my own investigations. I conduct my own research. And all of my techniques have changed all throughout the years. They've changed as genealogy research has changed and the information that has become available. So I have adjusted myself from the beginning days of when I first got started to now. And as I find myself now in even adjusting even more, I think that technology is so much more advanced now that it affects everything of our normal social lives, so to speak. It has changed so much. Our ancestors from the 18th and 19th centuries would have been mesmerized on how much and how far we have traveled with technology, modern technology. And I think this has a great effect on genealogy as well. Frank is here. Welcome, Frank from Oklahoma, born in Atlanta, Southern ancestors. Well, I'll give you a clap on that. Marsha Wallace is here from Northeastern Kentucky. Welcome, welcome, all of you. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, so I want you to share what changes you think that are coming up for genealogy in just a few years ahead of us. You know, genealogy and history is a part of all of us. All of you guys are involved on the same journey. And there's millions of others of us out there. With all the upcoming changes that we feel may happen, it's going to affect every single one of us. And I don't want you to be shy tonight. I want you to share your thoughts and talk amongst yourselves and ask questions and make your comments, because this journey affects all of us and we're all on the journey together. That's the most important thing. We're not alone. We are all on this journey together. So we got to talk about it together. So what changes are going to affect our research in the future? The number one change, I think, this is my personal opinion, the number one thing is AI. AI is going to completely transform, I think, the way that we research online, the way that we research at certain facilities, certain corporations that have online databases. I think AI is going to be the number one change for genealogy and moving forward. And I think it's coming quicker than what most people anticipated. I really, really do. I really do. I even went as far as looking at family search because I had heard words about family search expanding into the AI technology, and they are. They are expanding computer-assisted algorithms to access data much more quickly. Now, is it going to be more accurate? Time will tell. I think this is a learning process for everyone in moving forward with genealogy research and historical research as well. So if family search is willing to take a leap into faith, so to speak, and try this out, I think it's going to be several learning curves with it. But is it worth the try? Most definitely. Most definitely worth the try. Is it something that we all should be getting accustomed to in the future? Yes. I think we're all going to need to be fully aware of AI and how it works, how to properly use it, how to utilize it with our own genealogy personal research files, and how to operate it throughout, correctly. I really, really do. Really do. The family search is specifying that it's going to be a great record finder. Okay. But now AI is going to be much more than that, I think, too. It's going to be a book finder. Okay. It's also going to be a research techniques, using different research techniques like a photo finder or a particular photograph that you're looking for. AI can ultimately change our research techniques, but be mindful of the data that it shows you. There's three little rules I like to think about when I think about AI, and that's verify it, just verify it, prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt, and source it. Make sure that it's sourced correctly. And then it's the same. I look at it at this point. It's the same as with public family trees. AI is as a clue right now. It's not a fact. It's not telling me facts. It's just guiding me. It's guiding me to possible more clues where I can find more evidence. That's the way I'm looking at AI right now. Will that change in the future? Well, we'll see. We'll see what changes come of it. I'll read some of your comments about AI. Christina says, let me go back up here to Marsha. Okay. Christina says, I've seen videos about using AI for genealogy, and I am not sure about it. Yeah, it is a question. It is a big question right now on how far they can want to go with this. Scotty says, word search on family search experiments are great. And I'll tell you, Scotty, I have went on family search and just played around with it just a little, and I've been more detailed with what I am looking for. Knowing, okay, let me give you this example. I know that there was a specific record that they had on hand, digitized and available online. And I used it to worded my keywords exactly to see if it would bring up that particular record. And it did. And it did very quickly. It was just a little test that I had ran on it to see. Now, did it bring up other things with the words that I was using? No, it didn't. But Family Search is stating for their goal in 2025 to release even more digitized documents and records in the coming months of this year. And they're going to make them free for all online members of Family Search. So that's a plus too. And I think they're doing this to help with this algorithm and working with AI. And I think Family Search will not be the only ones in doing this. I think there will be others that will participate in this same manner. Okay. Christina said, I've also seen a trend for younger people not to want to embrace their Southern genealogy. Yeah. And it's not just in the Southern region, but I've seen younger people not too wanting to embrace the past really altogether because of what they feel that some of the past represents in different aspects. But at the same time, I've also seen younger people fully interact with me and be inquisitive about what their past ancestors were doing and where they were. And I'm getting more and more young people to respond out and reach out to me. Now, I don't know if others have seen this in working with professional genealogists, if they've been receiving requests or if nonprofits have been receiving more requests from younger people. But I'm starting to work with more younger people now. So that might be changing. Robert says, I believe full text search is a major game changer. I do too. Robert also says, I believe that this is going to lead to additional tools for fan research. Some of these tools will utilize AI, add a tool to streamline fan research. Yes. Robert also says collaboration tools with Zoom will grow to break brick walls. I've never liked that term of brick walls because I always looked at it. There was a way to get through to the other side. Even if you had to dig under it, go around it, but I agree with you, Robert. I think that AI is going to open up a whole different world, and I think it's coming quicker than what many people realize. And I hope that everyone takes advantage of the opportunity to learn more about it, play around with it, experiment with it a little bit, and move forward and learn and keep learning as you go. Beverly says, I have found amazing records on full text search. Absolutely. Catherine, I like AI for transcribing records. That is one of the main things that a lot of people don't even have knowledge of. If you have a document that is in Spanish or in French, you can't in colonial, during the colonial period, you have no way of transcribing. You don't have the slightest idea what to do. I've got little dictionaries, German, colonial 18th century German language I can transcribe here at home. But I do have other documents that now I've tried to transcribe here, had help with several documents, but AI will transcribe those documents amazingly. They will also transcribe newspaper articles, any colonial documents that are hard to read. That is one of the things that people do not realize about it. Christina says, trying to teach anything about the past they don't like is hard. Talking about younger people. I I'll tell you, Christina, one of the things that I've always tried to do when addressing certain issues that occurred in the past, and you have a younger audience, always try to be positive and try to think in a positive manner. And how can I put this in a positive way? Or how can I make this more realistic to them in their way of thinking? How can I place them, the audience, into that time setting to make them kind of feel that how it was so much different during that particular time period? It's kind of, sometimes it's difficult to do, but it makes us work harder to try to make people understand that during a specific time period, it was completely different than what it is today in 2025. The social settings, the social trends, what was popular, what was not, what was everybody's mindset, what was the number one priority and most important things in their life, what was on the agenda for the day, so forth. See, Robert says, I believe the tool AI will help focus research by determining what sources are most valuable to your research and find holes in your research based on sources used for other about the same data or place. Yes. Scotty says, amazing how it can decipher. It's amazing. It really is. Now, in saying that, Scotty, about 18th century handwriting, now I have came across a couple of things that it was not correct. And when it transcribed it, they got several words wrong. Now, that may not be so important, but I just want you to keep that in mind. It did not transcribe a couple of items correctly, 100% correctly. Robert says, I am currently using Thomas McIntyre templates and AI to write stories. Good job, Robert. You are already ahead of the game. You were already there. Okay, so the 3 rules I try to use is verify it, prove it, and then source it. Okay. AI is also a good organizer tool with digitized material. For example, okay, here at the attic, we've been digitizing our remaining files since the hurricane, and I randomly wanted to know how many times a specific word occurred in the digitized material that I had already prepared for. And so I just picked out a random word, and I picked out cow, C-O-W, cow. Okay. It brought up 14 wheels and 16 letters in which this word occurred. And then it told me what the documents were, where they came from. That's how I know it's 14 wheels. So in 14 wheels that I had here that I recently digitized, the word cow appeared. That's just one example that I wanted to share with you guys about that. I think this is going to be a major change for all of us. I really, really do. And I think that all of us common family historians will reap great benefits from it. I won't say that it will always be correct, and I won't say that it'll always be accurate, and it won't always give you the right answers. And there'll be times it won't point you in the right direction, and it may lead you astray. I'll say that too. It might lead you astray. But I think that this is going to be a major impact on all of us in moving forward. And I encourage everyone to learn more about it and how it works and how to properly use it. I really, really do. That's the number one thing. Okay, well, what about research material itself? Well, I see a movement as far as research material. I see a movement allowing more material to be available to everyone. I see this kind of like a competition, like we're in a race. I'm noticing several historical societies that were pretty much, I don't want to say they were non-existent, but you didn't hear much about them. They're trying now to get the word out. Hey, this is what we have. And they're trying to let people know what materials they have. They're trying to digitize them and get them online. Now, with that being said, a lot of these nonprofits are also saying, well, if you become a member of our society, then you will gain access to these materials. Okay, we're going to get into that. But I do see an increase of research materials becoming available online. I don't think everyone will be on board with this, as they proclaim the importance of money to operate, the lack of personnel to achieve this goal, and other things. But I do anticipate an increase of research material to be freely available in the near future. Now, when we talk about the actual documents, such as parish records, things you're not going to find at state archives, or, these are be like, okay, for instance, ferry records. Ferry records are a local documents. They're local documents. They're tied to an immediate local area is where you're going to find these records. I know from tracing migration routes, these records are difficult to find, but they are out there. Who has them? Very small historical societies, nonprofit organizations. This is where I'm getting into how they are going to address this. When we talk about actual documents, you have to consider the ownership of these materials. Who owns them? Who owns the rights of these documents? This includes corporations and nonprofits. I do have to include state and county archives in this category as well. This is where genealogy meets the present social world. And what does that mean? It means that genealogy connects to politics, okay, and local trends, local social trends. I don't like saying this. I really don't, because I don't, back in when I'm talking about the 18th century, I'll sometimes will bring up, especially during the trading years where the British were consistently trading with the Native Americans and how the tactics that they used. That was colonial politics, okay? Some of the surveyors involved with the early mappings of the area and how certain areas were omitted versus other areas were highlighted. That's where colonial politics come into play. Okay, that is what I'm getting here now. It's present day politics. There is a lot to storing documents, who owns them, and who has the right to distribute them, and they have that right to know how they want to distribute them. Like I said, I don't like saying it, but it's true. Many state archives will actively support genealogy companies and provide actual links to documents on these genealogy companies. I know that for a fact. I've seen it. I know who they are. Not everyone does that, but they are out there. And that to me is stating that state archives they are promoting genealogy corporations. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to mention names, and I'm not going to, you can do the research yourself. I'm just saying that it is out there. This is where politics meets genealogy. Okay. I'm going to stop here and read a few. Barbara says, transcription of old records is very exciting. Yes. I love that you have an old German transcription book. Yeah, my book was published in New York and in 1912, 1911. It says, I hope that there are colonial American books to consult as well. Yes. Melissa Foster says hi. And Robert says, I forecast that genealogical and historical societies without Zoom will die. Okay. What I'm getting into is it's like a competition right now. And what I'm anticipating is there are a lot more. There's millions. Okay, let me do this. There are millions of us common family historians out there. Genealogy is an active money market. It is a profitable money market. It has been for years. It has steadied. It has saw some trends, but not, it's had a steady growth. There are millions of us out there researching, wanting to know the answers to our past. So with historical societies and small groups, small nonprofits, I think they're going to be in competition more than ever. And I am already seeing a trend on social media, Facebook in particular, on where several historical societies are really amping up the materials that they have on hand and actually sharing them and posting them and trying to gain more followers on their Facebook page or their Facebook groups. And I see them doing this, especially after December. I've noticed a large trend of many of them doing that. So I think I think many of them will realize that they are in competition. And if they don't have Zoom, will they die? I don't know about that. They're using several techniques to get the word out. Hey, we're here. We are here. But the thing of it is, let me get back to where I was real quick. Majority of the nonprofits want you to become a member. And in order to gain access to all of their treasures, I don't foresee these actions discontinuing anytime soon. Okay, as far as that, as the membership rosters. In fact, I see them increasing in the near future. I see an increase also with national conferences as well. And I also see smaller historical societies and genealogical societies holding an online open discussions, possibly maybe doing YouTube. I've saw many of them pop up on YouTube with new channels and possibly going through that route. But I see of a more interest of them wanting to share and getting their word out there of what they have on hand. The National Genealogical Society plans a 4-day conference in May of this year. I don't know how many of you are members of the National Genealogical Society, but I want you guys to guess what they are covering this year in Louisville, Kentucky. I think it's in May 23rd through May 26th. They are focusing on water routes and migration patterns. They're entitling this Tales and Trails. I was excited when I saw this. I thought all of these years, me getting out here telling everyone, migration routes are what you need to be researching. If you follow the roads, you'll find the people. And I've been stating this for years and years. And then all of a sudden, the National Genealogical Organization is coming out with Tales and Trails. And I was flabbergasted. I was so excited for that. Did we, all of us, come together, all of us, millions of family historians, focusing on these migration trails, church records, parish records, documentation of the proof of migrations of families moving from one colony to another and how important that was, and studying the early roads? Did that make a difference for the past several years? I don't know, but I think it is great that they're doing that. And that conference will be on 4 days. It does cost a price to join it. I'll let you guys check it out. If you want to learn more about it, it's ngsgenealogy.org. Genealogy is a huge money market, like I said, and it's a money market tool that can be used. And as long as we have family historians looking for answers like you and me, I see the money market growing in the future. And that includes nonprofits, historical societies, state archives, genealogy corporations, the whole 9 yards, everything. As long as we want the answers, I see that market growing. Let's see. Robert says he attended a meeting Zoom originating in Oklahoma with Canadian, Boston, California, and Kansas attendees. Yeah. And if they don't, well, I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave it like it is because I think that's what they're going to lean towards is keep going in that direction. And I think they're going to be more competitive with one another. I really do. I think they want to be known. I think you're going to see certain societies in certain areas or certain states that will want to stick out and say, look, we've got the oldest records here. This is what we've got. I think that's coming. All right, what about social media? I see Facebook growing. I do. I see Facebook growing with groups and pages featuring material and encouraging interactions. I see this because of what I just mentioned earlier about the historical societies making more posts and actually putting pictures of documents of, what they have on hand. I seen the other day from a historical society based out of Tennessee that actually had photocopies of a land ledger book dated to 1801, 1802, 1803. And I was like, yes, that's what we want. That is what we want. That's what we're after. So I applauded them for that. So I see more of that especially on Facebook. I really do. I believe this allows more and more people to join together on a social media platform on a journey to the past. I also see YouTube growing with future channels dedicated to sharing the actual data that the channel owners have discovered. I see in the future more ground work with certain YouTube channels. And there are a couple that I follow. One's based out of Georgia, and they randomly do videos on old cemeteries that have been neglected, that have not been registered, and they try to preserve them. And they get the names out there of who is buried. They try to dig in more information about that particular family. They go into detail, and I see more videos like that coming out. That is real. That's getting out there. That's what you want. And I see more and more of that coming up on YouTube. And I encourage you all to seek those out. I can't remember the one of Georgia that I follow. I'm sorry, but yeah, the name has escaped me. But they're very good. They've been on YouTube for a while, and I applaud their efforts. They really go out of the way to search for old abandoned cemeteries, and they want to record that to preserve that history, and that's phenomenal. That's like with us with the old roads. I mean, I see us in the future doing the exact same thing, going out on the ground, out on the road, and showing you step by step, hey, this is the Great Wagon Road. This is where it passed. We are here, such and such. This is this time and date, and this is our documentation proving that the Great Wagon Road traveled through here, yada, yada. I see that coming in the future for us. So, yes, I see YouTube growing with more videos about that. You know, that's what we've always done. We've always tried to share the actual documentation and research materials. You know, like with our live streams, I have given, I don't know how many sources to you guys, or reference research materials, documents, data, you name it. That's what we've always been about, is just sharing what we know. There are other entities out there that want to share their opinions, and we do at times too, like I'm doing that tonight. But they want to share their opinions about things that they have actual documentation on, if they would take the time out to look. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, but anyway, that's what we've been doing all along, is trying to share. So what about other platforms, social media platforms? I don't foresee genealogy growing on Instagram. I don't know how many of you guys are fluent with Instagram. I don't see genealogy growing on X, or what was formerly known as Twitter. There are other social media platforms out there, but number one, as far as that, with growing with genealogy, I see Facebook. I really, really do. It seems to target at the older citizens. Are we in the older class now? I see it targeting those that we are still on there in Facebook. Although we do have young people on there, but it seems to be the middle age to more the senior group that is really, really dedicated to genealogy research. And I see them sticking it out with Facebook and the groups and pages that are active. Marcia says, Sidestep Adventures. That's it. That is it, Marcia. The channel that I follow out of Georgia is called Sidestep Adventures, and it is amazing. Robert is, I can remember Robert being on there, but they do an amazing job on recording history in Georgia. They even did one segment not very long ago, it might have been about a year ago, about the certain roads in Georgia, and I loved that. They did an excellent job on portraying an old road that had traveled through their section of Georgia. Yes, thank you, Marcia. Thank you for telling me that. Robert says, I'll have a workflow then. And Elaine, it is Sidestep. Elaine got it right too. Sidestep Adventures. Good job, you guys. Marcia says, one in West Virginia is the Hillbilly Files. That is one that I have seen as well, and they're very, very good. There's another one of Appalachian Families, I think, that has recently came out. Haven't been out too long. They have done a really good job so far too. It's dedicated people like that really want to get the word out about true history and true genealogy, and also sharing family stories too. That's very important too. But they're on an incline on YouTube. It's growing, and I see it keep growing. I really do. Robert said Instagram is my grandchildren's platform. Yeah, I don't see genealogy growing very much. There are a few on there that are solely dedicated to several to 18th century cooking. That's popular on Instagram. There are several other genealogy family history profiles on there that are pretty active, but I don't see it growing very much on there. And Frank says, Sidestep Adventures, that's 3. You guys are right on it tonight. Good job. Good job. Yep, Sidestep Adventures. You know, they should be proud of us for promoting them on here tonight. Okay, so maybe you guys see it differently as far as social media. I don't see it growing on X, or formerly known as Twitter, or TikTok, or any of those. I really don't. I just don't. I just see it staying steady on Facebook for the time. So what about DNA? What do you guys think about DNA? The main problem I see with corresponding with others about DNA is how it lacks the credibility to positively connect to our 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th generation. That's where I run into a problem with DNA. I think I can predict enormous growth, though, with DNA analysis in the future. I really, really do. You know, the National Institute of Health has proposed a plan for 2026 for genetic genealogy training in Bellingham, Washington. And this, of course, will connect to all the health issues of millions of participants who will participate in this DNA program. And I think with that, if they go through with it and they're successful, I think from that project over the next few years that DNA will explode, and with enormous amount of information compared to what it is now. Don't get me wrong, DNA is growing. It's growing. But I think that the strategies and databases will increase. I would hate to say percentage-wise, but it's going to be phenomenal, I think. So we'll have to just wait and see. You know, we only have within us 3% DNA from our 5th generation, 6th generation, and it becomes much, much more difficult to pinpoint it. And I think people have a very difficult time in connecting, finding that true positive proof without a shadow of a doubt connection to a particular person that it says that it links them to. So, yeah. But I see changes coming up with DNA, and I think even I'm going to have to be even more fluent in moving forward with that in the next few years. I really, really do. I am a paper trail girl. I am all about the paper trail, and I'm also about ground research and the study of ground because the road study that I'm involved with, and landscape, waterway routes. That's my cup of tea. But I can feel it, within me in the years to come that I'm going to have to focus more on the DNA aspect of it as well. Frank says that. Okay, and Robert says, I believe DNA has run its course. Perhaps analysis will help. I agree with you until I realized that the NIH was going to propose this study in 2026. If they go through with this and the funding's there and they carry it out and they get millions to participate in it, it may be a game changer. But I'm going to have to leave it with that. I'm just going to have to wait and see what happens. But you may be absolutely right, Robert. It may have run its course and it may be at the end. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Okay. So, what about the common family historians like me and you? What changes do you anticipate in your daily activities with genealogy research? I think organizing our data on what we have on hand will enhance our current search. And I also think that the majority of us will not rely. We are an independent bunch. All of us are. I know you are, and I know I am. We're independent. And when it comes to genealogy research, we like to conduct our own research. We like to do our own investigations. I would bet every one of you are like that. You want to see the proof with your own eyes. You want to find it. You want to hold it. You want to cherish it. You want to preserve it. And I think we're not going to change in that. I think the common family historian is stubborn on that point. We rely on our own talents to guide our way. And I don't see us changing that anytime soon. Not in this generation. Not to say what will happen in the future with my grandchildren, your grandchildren, great grandchildren, don't know. But, and we may have already provided all the answers for them that satisfies them. They'll just have to wait and see. But I see us staying strong-willed in the position that we are. I really do. I think that a majority of us will be willing and learn new things, new techniques. But in the long run, it will be us wanting to learn them and to apply them, and us carrying on with our own investigations on a personal level. I see that. I know several professional genealogists who tell me that their clients it's declining. Their client list has declined over the past few years. So that tells me there are fewer people seeking professional genealogy help. And there are more people that are conducting investigations on their own. And I think it's great. I always said, if you are a family historian, you don't know it. Maybe many of you do, but I say the majority of you don't realize that you have a natural talent of wanting to know. And you've always had that. You are a natural, talented investigator. That's what makes a family historian. Frank Casey says yes. And Robert says, I am asking my family what are their questions. I'm trying to make it relevant to them. Yeah, and that can be difficult. Some family members aren't. They're like, I don't care. Oh, and some of them will look at me. There's Carol. You know she's going to talk about something in the family she found. Or so what? They just don't care. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. My family questions are setting my priorities for next year. And the Kazar says, I need help in Virginia. Oh, no. Think positive now. Think positive. Don't cry tears. And there's no brick walls. Think positive and keep moving forward. But yeah, I think we're all strong-willed, and I really don't think that's going to change anything. I do suggest to everybody to digitize or preserve your records or materials in some way in case of a natural disaster, like what had happened here. Protect your books, protect your photographs, anything that is just means so much to you. Make sure that you take the time to preserve your hard work and your collectibles, and make sure that they are preserved. Yes, granted, we had an overwhelming amount of information and materials, but now it took the hurricane to make us realize, it doesn't matter the size of your collection, whether it be 1 million pages or 1 billion pages. Get them protected and digitize them and protect them. Make sure they're preserved for the future. And I encourage everyone to do that. And like I said, I still see many independent historians who strive to investigate the data themselves. This encourages me, that the average family historian is not declining. We are not declining. Don't tell you guys, I'm not going to listen to you if you tell me we are a declining generation and genealogy one day will just not be important anymore. No, we're not. We're holding the ground. We're steady. We are not declining in number. We are holding ground. All right, so now I have a few questions for you real quick. You can comment live or you can post your answers in the comment section underneath the live stream video. What is your number one website for genealogy material? Okay, your number one place that you go to when you're online. Number two, have you tried AI with your own genealogy research? Let me know. And number three, how many generations have you connected by using DNA results only? How many generations have you gone back using DNA results only? Okay. So Robert says, family search. Good. Wanda says, all of my family research is in Rockbridge. Okay. And is that where you're having problems with? Wanda is in Rockbridge. Don't think negative. Always think positive. If you want to reach out to us, Wanda, you can email me. If it's something that you don't want to share, you can email me at contact@piedmonttrails.com. Email me. We're back on regular schedule, so go ahead and shoot me an email, and I'll read it, and I'll see if I can help you in any way. Okay? But don't feel discouraged. No tears. Robert said, okay. And Robert says, I have tried AI early and going back. Yep, I'm right there with you. I'm going back too. Frank says, Ancestry and Family Search. Okay. The Kaiser says, Henry Johnson, Appomattox, Lynchburg, 18. Now you're now crying more tears. You guys got to quit that crying. Scotty says, Family Search seems to have the most digitized. Can I say it out loud? I love Family Search. I love Family Search. And I've been with a member of Family Search, I don't know how long now. When did they come out? Was it 99? Well, when they came out is when I began. I began with them. But yes, because of the digitized records, books, all types of materials, I'm right there with you, Scotty. Right there with you. Marsha, Family Search. Yay. Robert says, what was your third question? The third question was, how many generations have you connected by using DNA results only? No other materials, no other documentation. How many generations have you been able to prove using DNA results only? Mark says, touchstones may seem important. Naturalization papers, old wedding certificates become encouragement for my family members. Way to go. You know, another good tactic to use with family members with some of the younger generation is make it personal with them. Show, like some of them are really interested in fashion or the clothes that they wore. They sometimes say, look at that. Look what they wore back then. Start out with something that they kind of show a little interest in and then just really play on that and dig deep into it. Elaine says, Ancestry and Family Search. Okay. Christina says, Ancestry is my main place. Good. Mim, Catherine Atkins, 3 solid generations with DNA, but I am working closest first. Gotcha. Melissa says, my heritage. Good job. Robert says, none. I use DNA to verify that I am researching the correct lines. Perfect. That's perfect. Catherine Atkins, I use Roots Magic that connects to both Family Search and Ancestry and connect daily for both. And Melissa says 5 generations. Melissa, so you're saying that you have proven documentation of lineage through 5 generations through only DNA results. That's amazing if you have. Sure, not doubting you. I'm just saying that's amazing. Okay, the culture says, has there been any Virginia records found and digitized lately? Every day, almost. Every day, almost. Robert says, I also use Roots Magic 10. Good job. Melissa says yes. Melissa, I applaud you then. And maybe I need to talk to you because I may need your help. Okay. And Scotty says, I like to use Y-DNA for male lineage and mtDNA. Yes, yes, yes. Lots to learn, you guys. Lots to learn. Okay. My goal for 2025 is to preserve every single document and materials I have and share them with others, share them with all of you. And I encourage everyone to join me on this today. What documents you have, if your family members don't want to see them, then share them with all of us. We're your genealogy family, okay? We're your Piedmont Trails family. Share them with us. All right. And Robert says, I have also done Y-DNA. Yes, yes. Melissa says, because I did not know who my great-great-grandfather was until DNA. Then I need to get with you, girl. I do. John says, hello from the motherlode of California. You all keep up the good work that you love. Thank you. And Catherine says, there was a rumor from a cousin, and sure enough, I found DNA matches for 3 of my grandfather's children with a woman he wasn't married to. Yes, I know. I've heard them stories over and over again. DNA is amazing. It is. Okay, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Our podcast this week is about the Mecklenburg Declaration and our findings with our final opinion share during that show. It's episode 49. It'll be out by next Saturday. The Attic Family Files will be listed on the website this week. You can find them on the tab at PiedmontTrails.com where it says Attic Files. You click on that, you'll see the new list, updated list of the files that remain that we have intact. We lost thousands of files and hundreds of books during Hurricane Helene, but don't be sad about our loss. The journey continues. Our next live stream will air March 30th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, where we will focus on the early roads in North Carolina, and I mean early. We're going to go deep into the early roads in North Carolina before 1760, and we're going to go really, really detailed. Remembered, I'm going to be on a new stream where I'm going to be able to share documents and share my screen. I'm going to be able to share my maps, so don't miss this one. It's coming up March 30th. March 30th is on a Sunday at 7:30 p.m. This data will come from our Great Wagon Road project, okay? Most of it will be coming from it. Wanda says, where can I find your email? It's at contact. Here, let me type it in for you. Hang on. Contact at PiedmontTrails.com. Okay? Got it. There you go. All right. And don't miss it. Don't miss the next live stream. I'm excited. I can't wait to do this. This is what I've always wanted to do. I wanted to share the actual documentation of our ground research data from the Great Wagon Road project. And we had been reluctant to share a bunch of it the past several years because of lack of proof. But now we've got it, and I want to get it out there, and I can't wait to do this. So be prepared through the next months. I'm really going to get in detail on these roads. I really am. And I'm going to prove how politics played a major role in surveying some of these early maps that we all seem to have access to, where the other maps that other surveys did. I'm going to really get into it, so you guys don't miss the next one. All right. So where was I at? Don't miss this one as we share our maps and much more. There are also updates from our Colonial Indentured Servants project. I know many of you email me asking what has happened, where are the updates? It's coming. The updates will resume in March, and we're going to be adding more colonial ship data, documentation of owners, passenger list, cargoes, actual indentures that occurred prior to them arriving to the colonies. Much, much more information coming out on that. I want to get this project out there because there is a lack of information proving how many colonial indentured servants were actually here. And I'm tired of hearing historians proclaim the wrong numbered amount. I want to get the truth out there, and I want it out there now. So updates are be resuming in March. So be looking for those from the Colonial Indentured Servants project. And don't miss the next Digging the Roots. I've got the last Digging the Roots, we had things about Billy the Kid. We had things about Stokes County, North Carolina caves. We had an Indian battlefield. This one coming up, we're going to be moving west. I'm going to be concentrating on the Mississippi River and how people crossed it when they first started traveling west. So be looking for the next series on Digging the Roots. If you don't know what all of these things are, go to PiedmontTrails.com. You can join up, be a subscriber. It's free. Only thing is required is your email address, where you can be notified of updates and new additions added to the website. Let me make sure I've got read everybody's comments real quick. Melissa Foster, I need to get with you. I do. Because I have some questions for you about DNA. Okay. Okay. Can you reach out to me? All right. So Marsha Wallace says, thank you for all that you do. No, thank you. Thank you. Robert says, sounds like Atkins could use the book I sent you earlier on Ohio River navigation. Yes, Robert, you might suggest that too. Okay. Good job. Way to help. Catherine says, you have a great channel, always helpful and interesting. No, I have a great channel because I have great audiences like you. Thank you. Thank you. Robert says, does colonial ships include those going to? Yes. We're talking New Jersey, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Virginia. Okay. that's the main concentration. But I'm telling you, there's a whole lot more going on with the colonial ships and indentured servants. So stay tuned. This information, I got to get this out there because it's got to go. Okay, Frank says, thank you, Frank. And Melissa says, okay, I'm happy too. Yes, I will email. Thank you, Melissa. All right. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I wish you well on your journey to the past. Be optimistic. No tears, no brick walls. Thank you, and God bless.